All right, all right. How are we doing tonight? It is July 18th, 2024. Just finished watching President Trump finish his speech at the Republican National Convention. I figured we should fire up a live stream, give my hot take reaction to his speech, which was really good, really powerful, really long. I didn't expect him to go this late. Here we are. It's 9/11 on the West Coast, so we are past midnight on the East Coast. And you just love to see the energy back, right? The Trump pump, as I've been calling it, and you don't have to agree with them. You don't have to like them. And even if you're offended by them, at least get rich off of what's about to happen. At least build wealth for your family off of what is coming back to America, which is the vibes. The vibes are coming back to America. The energy's coming back. The jobs are coming back. Investment money's about to pour in to this country. And this is what we need to focus on. Like I said, for me, it's not about left, right, Democrat, Republican. It's about, are we actually going to bring accountability and solve the problems that we have? And then what are the solutions going forward? Let's focus on getting something actually done for the American people. We have an incredible opportunity before us. Beautiful technology that's ready to bring about a new world, a world that is interoperable, right? With the systems being connected, countries being connected, billions of people brought online, and also we can now bring liquidity to the old world, right? To the assets that I do like to stack. I do still love the old world, right? The silver, the gold, and the commodities that now get to be liquefied literally through this new financial system on DLT technology. Now, that was one of the big takeaways from this conversation. Peaky, how you doing, brother? I forgot to send you the message, but I did put out the tweet here shortly. I thought that Trump was going to go a little bit longer, but I did just put out the tweet, did put out the notice. If everybody could help me out by sharing it out far and wide, letting everybody know that we are live here for the night. My key takeaway, though, from Trump's speech here tonight was he spoke of the new golden era, the new golden age that we were going to bring about. And he said Japan wants to do it, China wants to do it, all these different countries want to do it. What's he talking about? Well, he's talking about a new system, right? I mean, he means it literally, a new golden era, one that is going to be backed by gold and other commodities, but liquefied through the DLT technology. And he's speaking so bullish on crypto now. He wants America to lead, which, why is this political? Why is this not coming from both sides of the aisle? Whether you're D, whether you're R, whether you're left, whether you're right, whether you believe in this God or that God, can we make this country rich again? That's what I want for America, right? And so let's get right on into it, folks. The key takeaway for me was the fact that the energy's back. The golden era is coming, and it's up to us to prepare accordingly, because just because we got good rhetoric, just because we get motivated, just because the vibes are coming back, what is about to be unleashed here, what's already been unleashed against us between now and this election, right? This is what we got to prepare for. Quarter inch away. I've been saying millimeters, centimeters. President Trump said we were a quarter inch away. So I'm going to start running with the quarter inch. We were a quarter inch away from one of the biggest black swans that this country would have ever seen. Thank God. Thank God. He turned his head at the right time. And this country's about to come together like, I mean, the last time I've seen this in my life was on 9/11. After 9/11, this country came back together. We came rip-roaring back. But what did the banksters do, right? They took advantage. They couldn't, the good times weren't good enough. They had to take advantage of it, and that's how they created the great financial crisis. And as you guys know from watching my show and watching others and doing your own research, they haven't fixed any of the issues. We've blown this thing back up. President Trump today saying that he's going to reduce the federal deficit. Well, that's approaching a $35 trillion problem. But how do you get that done? Well, you start to cut taxes. It's interesting. By cutting taxes, we actually brought in more revenue because more business was being conducted. There was more flows of money coming back in, investment money coming back on shore. Capital, we talk all the time in the XRP community about dormant capital, about freeing up dormant capital through on-demand liquidity. Well, we freed up investment, we freed up cash that was sitting outside of the United States because we didn't have favorable tax laws. So these entities, these corporations were setting up offshore, and they were never going to bring it back. But then the tax laws changed. Then the regulations changed. And then it started to flood back in. And over the past few years, they've done all of these actions to unwind what should not be political. Once again, even if you don't like them, even if you don't love them, the issues that I'm speaking on is not political at all. It's about building wealth, prosperity, and abundance in this country. And by doing so, by extension, we can share that out. You know, like you said, Japan wants to do it. China wants to do it. All of the nations of the world are starting to get together. Dozens of BRICS nations are starting to get together. And they want a new deal. They want a level playing field. And we now know, it's more clear than ever before, what stands in our way. And what are we going to do? When they send shots at us, we're going to get back on our feet, we're going to raise our fist, and we are going to fight. Without further ado, let's get right on into this update. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. To get started, I want to take a look at our XRP, which has corrected back down. Little healthy pullback to 55 cents. We got a little too hot to handle for XRP, back down to 55 cents. And the broader markets actually cooled off today as well. 64,000 right now for Bitcoin. Ether's at 3,400. And the broader stock market also corrected as well today. I'll show you the S&P 500 back down. Still at 5,544. It's truly incredible. What'd the Dow do? Big red candles. Yep. What about the NASDAQ 100? Big red candles. That's right. Now, the DXY actually did trend back up today. And that's that dollar index. Usually we will see the inverse correlation. When the DXY, the dollar goes up, we will see Bitcoin and the cryptos go down. So this is very typical, little correction right now. But what's interesting for me is how well gold and silver have held up despite the massive manipulation that just came in over the past 48 hours. They can't stand to see gold going up to 2,500. So right as we approached it, they sent in the massive shorts. Hundreds of millions of ounces of silver is how much shorting they had to do to keep us from breaking up to $32 per ounce. Silver getting beat back down below $30 per ounce. Another opportunity for us to scoop while these assets stay suppressed. This is not going to be the case forever, and they're starting to lose control of it. Hence why gold's at all-time highs still, and why silver is still holding support. Now, if we zoom out here on silver, you can see that despite us dipping below 29 and 30 bucks a few times here within the past month, we are still in incredible strength for both silver and for gold. Right there. So I got to plug it real quick. If you guys are looking to pick up precious metals while silver's under $30 per ounce, it's at zachrector.com. That's all I'm going to say on that half. Let's get right on into it, folks. It just continues to pour out the investigation into the events that came out over the last weekend. It's truly incredible. Out of all of the rallies Trump held in the last year, CNN just happened. This is just a crazy coincidence. They just so happened to decide to carry this as a live stream. The only one this year that they decided to live stream, it just so happened to be this one. Okay. But then let's take it one step further. Interestingly enough, as the situation unfolded, we have a New York Times photographer was in prime position to catch Trump's situation at the unusual setting for his camera at 1/8,030 FPS, which is frames per second. This is a very rare setting to have your camera on. Now, you already know what they're going to say. Oh, we're just crazy. We're coming up with theories. We're lunatic whack jobs. Just like they said about every other theory that we've been proven right about over the past 4 or 5 years. And really, for many of us, we've been in this game for longer. I started studying the Federal Reserve when I was in high school back in 2012. I was way early back then. I did not think that we were going to be this far gone by now. I did not think that the enemy was going to go this far here in 2024. But here we are. And it just so happens, it's just such a strange coincidence that this photographer is the same exact one that caught Bush during 9/11 when the planes were hitting the towers. Probably just random. God operates in mysterious ways, and I'm sure that was just a strange coincidence, right? What's interesting about this whole deal is how it wasn't just CNN, it was other mainstream media outlets that were actually live streaming this event. Now, I'm not even going to get into everything else that's happening, that's being unfolded with security, with the police, with other theories. I'm not even going to get into it. Follow the money. Something that we've always talked about, right? Well, look at this. Sometimes it's nice. Some of us like visualization, right? We want to see it before us. Well, I got just what you're looking for. This guy right here, Charles Rixey. I put your tweet into a pie chart and sorted the data table. 71% of all put options on DJT in the last 90 days came from one investment fund, Austin Private Wealth, on one day, the day before the event. And don't forget that they also shorted 34 million shares of Rumble. This was a massive bet against not only our president, but also against Rumble. I'm sure that was just another crazy coincidence though, right? You guys let me know in the comments down below what you think about this whole situation. It is truly incredible. I'm, not going to get into the details here. I'm not going to get into the theories right here. But you guys can probably read how I feel about this whole situation and just how obvious it is. And remember, this is the power of decentralized media. See, back in the day, back when they did John F. Kennedy, I got to be careful here, guys. They controlled the narrative 100%. There was no Twitter. There was no, everybody with HD 4K phones recording from 1,000 different angles. Back in the day, they had the narrative controlled 100%. There was no dissent. And the cleanup after JFK was rather simple, right? Oswald. It was a rather quick, easy, smooth cleanup operation, wasn't it? Now, these are operations, these are deals that they've got dialed in pretty correctly. It's just by the grace of God that we missed by a quarter inch. But going one step further now, why do they want to do this? Why are they in such panic? It's because people from both sides of the aisle, from every walks of life, every religion, are starting to now come together. And this backfired so big. This miss backfired so big. Because now you have the likes of celebrities, you have even Democrats starting to come out and say, hey, this is too far. This has gone too far. And the same exact thing happened after 9/11, to not quite the extent. Because on 9/11, it actually happened. It actually went through. Not to spare the lives that were lost. May they rest in peace. But this is similar to 9/11 into where everybody wanted to fly that American flag. Everybody wanted to get behind our president, and everybody wanted to go after our enemy. Now, don't get me started on where that led us with the Bush family. Don't get me started on how many trillions of dollars we wasted going after our quote-unquote enemy. Yeah. But the point being is they are scared to death of watching America unite. This group, this entity, this agenda, their biggest fear is a free-thinking American population that has the ability to defend itself and has no fear but God as the only fear amongst our population. And I found this just absolutely hilarious. This was from the RNC Tonight. This is what I'm talking about. Liquidity shares this meme. Imagine not being from the United States and watching this as part of our presidential election process. Well, to the world outside of the United States, this is how fired we are. This is how fired up we are to save our country. This is Hulk Hogan. Fire it up.
And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
This is where we're at in America in 2024. We got Hulk Hogan ripping off the shirt. But the point why I'm sharing this is just to show you guys how, I was listening to his interview before he took the stage, and he said, I've been tired of not speaking out. I'm sick of not speaking out. We're way past the point of not speaking out. And that's how I feel too. Like I said, I'm not scared to talk about this. You understand that a person in my position, a lot of guys would toe the line. A lot of guys would be more focused on, are my sponsorships, are my sponsors going to get upset with me? Oh, am I going to offend somebody? Oh, am I going to turn off a portion of my audience? I want wealth for this country. I want prosperity for this country. I want a level playing field for this country. And if that offends you, well, you can probably assume how I feel about responding to those types of people. I don't care. I'm here to win. I'm here to build it for my family. I'm here to build it for my community. And either you're going to get on board with us or we are going to fly right by you. And if you stand in our way, well, that could be a big mistake. Because this is a movement that is no longer going to be silent. This is a movement that is no longer going to allow to be pushed over, to be bent over. We are sick and tired of being sick and tired. I've said this before. Where is the, excuse my language, where is the pissed off party? Because that's what I'm a part of. I'm part of a group of pissed off Americans that are tired of seeing us bend over on the world stage, that are tired of seeing our currency devalued at such a rapid pace that it strips the American dream from the middle class and poor. We're sick of it. And we're sick of the political correctness that's made us all tiptoe around on eggshells like we're scared to get something done. Like we're scared to call it out for what it is, which is just absolute failure. Your program's a failure. And we're going to have to let you know about that. And we're going to have to vote you out. And let me show you this next clip. This is President Trump and why I titled this session here tonight, Trump capturing the crypto vote. It's over. It's over. And for you guys in the XRP community, it's only a matter of time here before President Trump endorses our good friend John Deaton. And then it's, as our good friend Digital Asset Investor says, it's a game. It's on like Donkey Kong after that. Folks, watch this one. This is President Trump. This is a speech that he recently just gave, and he's going full bullish on crypto. Check it out.
I will ensure that the future of crypto and the future of Bitcoin will be made in the USA, not driven overseas. I will support the right to self-custody to the nation's 50 million crypto holders. I say this with your vote. I will keep Elizabeth Warren and her goons away from your Bitcoin. And I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency.
You don't say, Mr. President Trump. No CBDC sounds good to me. How about a stable coin issued by Ripple? And I appreciate the sentiment of keeping Elizabeth Warren away from our Bitcoin. I love the way he says that. I just love the way he says it. Your Bitcoin. Thanks, President Trump, for protecting my Bitcoin. I'm going to need you to protect our XRP as well. And I'm going to, well, I already know you've been sitting down with Ripple. I already know that your White House has been sitting down with Ripple. I know that Ripple's been sitting down with this administration. They've been sitting down with both sides of the aisle. I know that Ripple is perfectly positioned. This is why I dropped a video just a few hours ago talking about Ripple and XRP both being systemically important. No CBDC sounds good to me. No central bank sounds even better. Let's talk about a stable coin. Let's talk about a treasury note. Let's talk about backing it by gold, backing it by silver, backing it by commodities, backing it by a basket of the resources that we have in this great land. Let's talk about backing it by something other than through force and the barrel of a gun and violence. I love that. I'd love that. That's how I want America to win on the level playing field. I want America to win. Make no mistake about it. I love everybody else that's listening and tuning in outside the United States. I want you guys to win too. If you win on a free and level playing field, then God bless you. I want prosperity for you as well. But it has to be achieved on a level playing field, not through force, not through trillions of dollars wasted in the Middle East, not through hundreds of billions now sent to Ukraine, not through, are we even going to defend Taiwan? We don't know. We're spread too thin. We're broke. We're bust. and we're not respected on the world stage anymore. But now it's back. We are so back. They are going to do everything they can to stop this, though. If we get through, if we survive, it's without a freaking doubt in my mind that this is going to be the continuation of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history, and he's going to protect us. He's going to protect our Bitcoin. You have to understand, this is simple marketing. This is campaign talk. Bitcoin is the number one. Bitcoin is recognizable, right? So he did say he's going to protect all of the cryptos. Then he went on to say Bitcoin as well. The Bitcoin maxis, what are they saying? I mean, this is what this guy says in this tweet right here. This guy really is going to announce Bitcoin as a strategic reserve in a week, huh? So this is the Bitcoin maxis. They think that we should add Bitcoin to our strategic reserves. I think that we, could look at some other assets, might get some better gains. But let's open up that conversation about what is in our strategic reserve. Why have we not had an audit of our gold? Why have we not had an audit of our Federal Reserve? We know our Federal Reserve has ballooned their balance sheet to backstop our system. We know that much. And you want to talk about balance sheets? Take a look at this next data point to reiterate and prove exactly what I'm talking about around nations around the world dumping our dollar, dumping our treasuries, and dumping our stocks. This is not my opinion. This is not my opinion anymore. This is proven by the data. Take a look at it. China just dumped an all-time high of $42.6 billion worth of U.S. securities in May. Folks, it's over. It's over. Some countries are making it criminal to use the U.S. dollar. Now, that's pretty extreme. Okay, but, sure. But China here, along with many other countries, dumping record amounts of our treasuries, of our securities. This includes our bonds and our equities as well, our stocks. They're unloading, right? And now, this is why Trump gets it, because he's surrounded himself with the right advisors like Steve Mnuchin, who called up Ripple to help write Executive Order 13772. One of many executive orders that we find just so interesting, don't we? Steve Mnuchin, executive producer of this great film, calls up Ripple, and now we see this come full circle where, we're watching stablecoin space right now is only at 160 billion. Ripple's talking about how it's set to go to 3 trillion, and they're perfectly positioned to help issue CBDCs for other countries that want to do the CBDC path. They're there to serve. Or for countries that, if Trump's not going to allow a CBDC, ready to help with the stablecoin. Setting the standard for stablecoin. Setting the standard for real-world assets. And the XRP ledger perfectly positioned to build upon that. Now, I want to share this next data point, and then I'm going to get into the Bank of International Settlements and the new rules that they're proposing for banks' ability to actually hold crypto on their balance sheets. I'm going to get to that in 1 second. But this right here, this is what the mainstream media is hiding. This is what they've been covering up. This is what the White House has been bearing as they tell us to feel warm and fuzzy about. We should all be feeling warm and fuzzy about this economy right now, right? This is what they're bearing. And remember, this is the manipulation of the data. Last week, the initial jobs claims came out, and the initial reading was only about 220,000. Well, just today, the real data comes out, and it actually jumps to 243,000, which matches nearly a 1-year high in the wake of, what's the excuse this time? Hurricane Beryl. Storm boosted unemployment filings in Texas, but layoffs might also be on the rise. Yeah, and that's the kicker. Yeah, a storm did come through town, but a storm's also going through our economy. And that's why layoffs are absolutely on the rise. We've been tracking the jobs lost. We're over 600,000 so far this year. Now, I'm going to talk more in tomorrow's update about more of the economic data and the cover-up and the manipulation and decoding the data. I just want to make one point, though. We shouldn't have to be decoding this. We shouldn't have to be revising things 3 different times, 4 different times, right? And the problem is that there's a reason why they have revisions. There's a reason why there's this process, this delay. But the problem is that the mainstream media in this White House and the politicians, they run with the numbers as long as they are politically correct and they don't offend anybody. And that's what we're seeing time and time again. Next week, I'm going to be watching very closely, and make sure you guys subscribe if you're new here. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss our updates, because next week we got a big one coming out, which is going to be Q2 GDP. Remember what happened with Q1? It was cut in half from Q4's GDP. Q4 was over 3% growth. Q1 initial reading came in at like 1.6, then it got revised down to 1.3, and then they found a little bit more growth in the final revision, the third and final revision, or maybe it was just the second. Anyways, they have 2, 3, 4 revisions, and it's still manipulated even after that fact. Final GDP comes in at 1.4%. So technically, we're still growing by 1.4%, but are we really growing if real inflation year over year is at 3%? Where's the growth? There is none. There is none. The only growth that's happening is through government jobs. So next week we get GDP. The first data point's going to come out. The first, reading on GDP. We'll be watching that closely because the question remains: are we going to enter a technical recession before we end this year? Before we get to the election, right? That's what we're going to be watching closely for. Now let's continue on here, folks. I wanted to share this one. Shout out to Crypto Airy for posting this one. This is the new Bank of International Settlement crypto requirements. This is set to be finalized, and I guess these are finalized, but this doesn't go into full effect until January 1st of 2026. Now, this is in regards to how much crypto can banks hold. So the two main points here is a bank's total exposure to all Group 2 assets, which is basically cryptos. Let me simplify this. Group 1 is stable coins. Okay. Group 2 is Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and other assets that are outside of stable coins. Okay. So a bank's total exposure to Group 2, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, must stay under 1% of its Tier 1 capital. And then furthermore, no single Group 2 crypto asset can make up more than 5% of the total Group 2 holdings. Excuse me. What does that mean? It means that if a bank holds crypto, it can't be more than 1% of their Tier 1 capital, and Tier 1 is U.S. Treasuries, cash, gold. It's interesting, right? Gold. They can hold as much gold as they want. When it comes to crypto assets outside of that Group 1, Group 2 assets like Bitcoin, XRP, no one of those assets can make up more than 5% of their overall crypto bag. So say a bank has a crypto bag, XRP cannot be more than 5% of their holdings. Bitcoin cannot be more than 5% of their holdings. And their overall crypto portfolio cannot be more than 1% of their Tier 1 capital. Now, what's interesting to me about this is why the need to put such stringent requirements and limits to how much banks can hold, right? What are they scared of? We know these assets are volatile, but look at treasuries. We just had the worst year for bonds in history. And what did it do to the balance sheets of the banks? Well, it generated $600 billion of unrealized losses. So before we get all worried about banks holding crypto, shoot, they've generated $600 billion worth of losses on bonds. Are we going to limit that? Because bonds are supposed to be Tier 1 capital. Now, we're going to be watching this. Here's the actual document right here. Disclosure of crypto asset exposures. And they talk about Group 2 exposure limits. And what this is right here, see, they're putting together these tables. And this is going to allow for a standardized process for all of these banks to actually report how much they're holding, right? Group 2, exposure limit, real world assets above the 1% limit. Table 10, total real world assets for Group 2 as a result of breaching the 2% limit. So, it's almost as if they're expecting them to actually breach these limits. And I don't know if there's going to be a penalty for that or what the process is. But remember, I talked about this last week about how they, sorry, I got distracted by a super chat from Peaky. I want to write this down. Basil 3. I'm going to get back to that in 1 second after I read this super chat from Peaky, because Peaky just made it rain with a massive 100 spot. When the pendulum swings, you need to have your catcher's mitt on. This all is a checkpoint in history, but don't get distracted. It's when they are putting on a spectacle that you might want to pay the most attention. Steve Mnuchin, as a Hollywood producer, might just concur with this. And some of the films that he's produced are really, really good, detailed government conspiracy types. I really like them. I really, really like Steve Mnuchin. The Accountant, that's one of them. Spot on. But the best movie that we're watching, right, is the one before us. The actual reality that we're now living. All the world's a stage and every man is playing their role, or whatever the old saying is, the old quote is, right? Peaky, you are such a real one, brother. I appreciate you from being here with me since the very beginning. Your love, your support means the world to me, brother. Thank you so much. And you're spot on, absolutely correct. And what we've been able to do in our group, right, is to be able to pick up those clues. And the reason why is we want to be able to position our portfolios, our business, our mind, our energy, right? Should we be getting all worked up over, the next thing that gets us all worked? Biden says something stupid. Should we be getting worked up over that? Should we be dispensing our valuable energy on that? No, we shouldn't. We should understand that is part of the show. And this is part of waking up the masses. And it is part of bringing about a massive wave of American vibes back. That's the best way that I can describe this. Is America is back, baby. The vibes are here. Once again, people are excited to hold up an American flag. People are excited to get back to work, to produce something of value for their community, which is, as I said, is all we want. Just allow us to go to work for our community, for our people. In return, we will be rewarded. We will build wealth for our families. This is what the American dream is about. It's opportunity for everybody, despite what your beliefs are, despite who you love, despite who you want to vote for. I want prosperity for you too, if you stand behind these core principles. And what we've been able to do over the past 4 years, I've had my Discord group now for 3 years, and that's where I had to take a lot of the conversation in regards to decoding, in regards to conspiracy. I have a whole conspiracy channel in my Discord group where I have my safe space where I can go talk about these things that we were called lunatic whack jobs for, that we were told we should be put in mental institutions for. Fast forward to 2024, who's been proven right? And now who's starting to win? Gold at all-time high, XRP shocking the world, whole crypto space in panic over XRP. Yeah. Who's starting to win now? Oh, and by the way, we weren't just waiting around for these assets to appreciate in price. We've been building businesses too. And this is why I love our community. This community is so strong. This community is so tapped in. Like-minded individuals who just get it, who understand it, who are willing to dig deeper, do research for themselves, hold themselves accountable to their family, to their God, to their country. And this is why I love even our audience outside of the United States. Let me know, do we have any international audience tonight? Our crazy Aussies are usually up. When I'm doing a late night live session, the crazy Aussies are usually with us. This is a worldwide movement for prosperity, for a level playing field. It's so powerful. And I'll never forget Ron Paul. He says, an idea whose time has come cannot be stopped by any government. It's one of my favorite quotes from Ron Paul. And I'm giving him credit for it. I don't know if he stole it from somebody else, but I heard it from Ron Paul. An idea's time who's come, an idea whose time has come cannot be stopped by any government. by any military. And that is what we're witnessing right before us. This is a powerful moment. I met Zach and his gracious wife at XRP event in Las Vegas last year. Leroy, I appreciate you, my friend. God bless you. There's something special. Something special, isn't there, about getting in person, being able to shake hands, give hugs, and feel that energy, right? And that's what I'm saying. The vibes are back. Beautiful thing. Now, before I got distracted by Peaky, God bless you, brother. Basel III, BIS, panic amongst both sides of the aisle. That's what we're watching. When Fed Chair Powell came in to give testimony last week for the House and the Senate, both sides of the aisle, Mr. Chair Powell, right? Thank you for your service. Why are we thanking him for his service? But nonetheless, we need to slow down on the Basel III, right? We need to calm down here on rolling out Basel III. You need to listen to our banksters, our bankster buddies who have lined our pockets before you roll out Basel III, because it's going to be a big problem. It's going to cut off all sorts of liquidity. Our economy is going to come to a halt. Well, what's Basel III about? Basel III is just about having a little bit more collateral before you go gamble, giving out all these loans. You know, making all these bets, which is essentially what our banking system is. You know, Federal Reserve, fractional reserve lending to the tunes of 100 times leverage. The only thing that surpasses it would be the crypto traders, us crypto degens that are using 150x leverage, right? The fractional reserve banking finally got passed up by the crypto degens. And the point that I'm getting across here is that before these banks roll out crypto, they're being allowed to tiptoe into the cryptocurrency space by, you can have 1% of your tier 1 capital in crypto. And you can't have more than 5%. Why? Right? And so I'm going to be digging deeper on this. I'm going to be putting out more content on this Basel III rollout and the new crypto requirements. But as I said before last week, you could see it in the testimony, Jerome Powell saying, yeah, don't worry, guys, don't worry. I'm talking to the banksters. I'm talking to Jamie Dimon. Jamie Dimon's very excited to eat up all the small regional banks. Yeah. And Jamie Dimon knows that an economic hurricane was coming because we talked about it at Jackson Hole, Wyoming, while we were having champagne and hors d'oeuvres. We talked about the economic hurricane that we were going to bring about, and once again, who got sacrificed against the fight against inflation? Who got sacrificed? The middle class and poor, not just by inflation, but by raising rates at the fastest pace in history. It was a death blow to our economy. And we tried to dance around and thank Powell for his service. Meanwhile, Main Street got rug pulled. What is there to thank Jerome Powell for? Thanks for pulling out the rug on our economy? Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for your service. What are we talking about here? Now, let's get into it. I also did include in the title of this video XRP growth, and I wanted to show you guys this because we're looking at the on-chain data. This is from Sentiment Feed. XRP Ledger is seeing a substantial amount of both new addresses created and total addresses interacting on the network. Both are at their highest levels since March. Now, back in March, we had the basically same thing. I can't even think of the word. What is it? You guys know what I'm talking about. They did it with Bitcoin, with the ordinals. Why can't I? It's not Inception. I have Inception stuck in my head now. Inscription. Okay, we had inscriptions, which is basically loading up transactions with a bunch of data and basically attacking the network. Bitcoin really barely handled it. The way that Bitcoin handled it was the Bitcoin mining fees just skyrocketed. So no one could send a payment through other than if you were willing to pay, $50, $100, $200. That's how Bitcoin handled it. And of course, the Bitcoin bros say, well, that's why, Bitcoin's made so flawless and why it's so perfect is because we just shot transactions up to $100 per transaction. And that's how we defended ourselves against the attack. Well, the XRP ledger just handled it. We just started pushing through hundreds of transactions per second, hundreds of transactions per ledger. And the ledger really handled the inscription attack very well, right? and the fees went up in almost not even worth mentioning terms. I mean, it was nothing, right? So the point being, the bump that we saw in March wasn't even really natural, right? The bump in March was an attack on the ledger. There's a bunch of inscriptions, there's a bunch of nonsense in that regard, and that's what was creating all these wallets. So this bump that we've had here recently, this is just organic growth on the XRP ledger of folks wanting to get wallets and start interacting, and the transactions also spiked. 1,721 new XRP wallets created in a single day. That happened on, looks like July 18th or over the last couple of days. Maybe that was July 17th, but nonetheless, that was the most since March 30th, which in March 30th, once again, that was the inscription attack. But we also had 47,000 individual addresses interacting on the XRP network, which is also the most since March 9th. Okay. We are starting to see organic growth in the XRP Ledger ecosystem from the bottom up. There's been more tokens being created, more NFTs being created, more liquidity pools being created, and it all builds on our fundamental thesis for XRP, right? And I've always said, every time somebody makes a meme on the XRP Ledger and people start buying that meme, what does it do? It destroys more XRP. I said this when they were rolling out XRP Plus. What was it? Zahao. When they were rolling out the Zahao network and they created the burn to mint bridge, right? Burn your XRP and mint Zahao. And I'm kind of evil, I guess, for thinking this way, but I'm like, oh, yes, you guys go burn your XRP. Yes, go destroy more XRP. And I was trying to egg them on a little bit. I was in the spaces with the developers. I'm like, hey, why don't you guys leave burn to mint open forever? One, I thought that it was a good move on their behalf. It would have gotten more growth for Zahao. If you allowed burn to mint to stay forever, it's a bridge that would have, it's a bridge that you keep open. When you keep the bridge open, people are going to cross it. When you destroy the bridge, well, there's no way to cross over. And they thought that they were going to surpass XRP, and they thought that leaving the burn to mint, that bridge open, was going to be a suppressor of Zahao's price. Well, that turned out not to be the case. Theoretically, could that have been the case? Maybe, sure. But I argued, I said, you guys need to keep this bridge because you're building off the back of XRP. If you want growth, you need to embrace that. And for those that do want to come into your ecosystem, allow them to burn their XRP to do so. Now, I'm kind of mischievous in my motives because I like people burning their XRP. Go trade memes on the XRP ledger. Go burn your XRP, right? And what this will do by burning XRP, it destroys XRP. That's going to increase price. And the overall transactions and volume, that's also going to increase price as well. During the most recent pump that we saw for XRP up to, what did we just do? 63 cents? 64 cents? I forget what we went up to. Let me pull up my XRP. Yeah, 64 cents. That's right. Yeah. The transaction spike. I mean, you can see the volume right here. Our volume surpassed Solana's, and we don't even have that strong of a meme community. We don't even have that strong of an NFT community. We have a DEX. We had a DEX before everybody else. We now have an AMM, but we still don't even have that much volume. But it finally started to pick up. And that was just amongst people wanting to trade the asset, right? Then we started to get DEX activity, and that was from folks building tokens, building NFTs, building out liquidity pools. I love to see it. I absolutely love to see it. And so we're watching as utilities being added to the XRP ledger. Every single utility that's being added to the XRP ledger is a catalyst for price goes up. Every single ETF that gets launched over the coming next 10 years that includes XRP, that's a catalyst for XRP price go up. When the lawsuit with the SEC concludes, that's a catalyst for price go up. When Brad Garlinghouse just announced yesterday, they launched their stablecoin in Q3 of this year. So in the next couple months, that stablecoin's getting launched. That's a catalyst for XRP price go up. When broader stablecoin legislation in the United States gets passed, catalyst for XRP price go up. When broader crypto regulations get passed, catalyst for XRP price go up. When individual spot ETFs for XRP get launched, it's a catalyst for XRP price go up. Do you see why I have such a strong bullish fundamental thesis for XRP? Right. On top of all the suppression, we're starting to see now, which is the great, one of the best drivers of price, rampant speculation amongst the broader cryptocurrency space. Outside of the XRP community, it's now becoming trendy. It's now becoming popular. Just like Hulk Hogan said, I was tired of being silent. Now it's okay for me to come out and speak out and support President Trump. Well, now in the cryptocurrency space, it's okay for folks to come out and talk positively about XRP. They know the backlash they're going to get when their audience and their communities ask, why were you so negative about XRP? It's not only that you weren't talking about XRP, you were talking it down. You were shorting XRP. You were hating on XRP. You were spreading lies and misinformation about XRP, which is the worst part. It's okay. If you don't want to buy XRP, you don't want to invest in XRP, you don't like XRP, you don't like Brad Garlinghouse, you don't like me, that's great. That's fine. I still wish you all the best in life. But to spread lies and misinformation about XRP, that's the problem. And that's what we were up against. Well, now the tide has changed. And I just find it so interesting how it all ties in together full circle. How now it's becoming okay to show your support for President Trump. It took the man nearly getting killed for folks to now be willing to come out and say, hey, I do support President Trump. Right? It's taken us battling the SEC for 3 years, finally winning, and everything else that we've been up against, all the lies, all the misinformation, and XRP finally starting to run a little bit while the rest of the space was down, for folks to realize, okay, wait, there might be something here. And I've pointed this out in the past. For all these folks that have talked down on XRP, isn't it interesting how they all have a little moon bag? They call it their XRP moon bag. And it's because they just can't help themselves. If they know what's good for themselves, they are going to be stacking that XRP. Because just like we've seen in the past, and just like we can see again here in the future, XRP took that 2 spot. For a brief moment, we took the 1 spot. And the only asset that really does have the potential to take the number 1 spot from Bitcoin, in my opinion, would be Ethereum and would also be XRP. And I really don't even think Ethereum has that great of a chance, to be honest with you guys. Now, one thing I didn't include in this, I want to get into Q&A, so start dropping your comments and questions down below. I really want to get to some Q&A. I want to check the vibe with our community here tonight. But tomorrow, I'm going to be going, I got a clip from Fred Rispoli. I made a note how he was actually in court today in, I forget, the appeals court out in California. I think it's the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. He was fighting his case, HODL law versus the SEC. And there's a couple interesting clips that I'm going to pull from that, but that's going to be tomorrow's episode. I didn't want to include it in this one because I already had enough to talk about, and I knew that I was going to be fired up and I was going to be ranting about saving our country and saving humanity and fighting for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness on a level playing field. So I'm going to save that one for tomorrow. If you guys are new here, make sure you guys subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll catch that update tomorrow. But huge shout out to Fred Rispoli for fighting that fight. My red folder's out of reach, but you guys know what it's about. You guys know what's up. Let's do Q&A. How are you guys doing tonight? Appreciate you guys. That's right, Christy. Yeah, they're saying Biden might step down by the end of this week. $17 XRP predicted by Sin City Crypto today. That's it. That's just it. Even the most conservative technical analysis are saying, dang, this thing's coiled up and ready to absolutely shoot. This thing's absolutely ready to rip. And even if you take conservative fractals, you got an opportunity to make some money. Quite a bit of money. If you play your cards right. Case over in 22 days. Yeah, I want to make a point about that. Please disregard everybody that's talking about the Sunshine Meeting Acts as if these are going to be settlement. Well, here's the thing. They could potentially be talking about settlement in the Ripple case. At this point, the settlement of the case is very unlikely. It's most likely going to be a final judgment from Judge Torres. Here's a fine for Ripple. Pay us $20 million and go about your business. That's most likely how this case is going to end. Very unlikely that this case ends in settlement at this point. But with that being said, there's a lot of folks that spread hype and misinformation about a settlement taking place because these Sunshine Meeting Acts, the Sunshine Meeting Act requires the SEC to publicly disclose every time they're having a meeting discussing settlements, ongoing litigation, and other issues. And so, every time these Sunshine Meeting Acts get posted, the XRP community gets all riled up. And I used to fall for this too. So don't feel bad if you've been falling for this too. I used to be a part of this, where it's like, oh my gosh, there's a meeting taking place. Is this going to be the settlement? This happens every single month. Okay. And here we are 3.5 years later, still waiting for this case to conclude. And now we're at a point where it's highly unlikely that a settlement were to occur. But with that being said, is the end of the case soon? Well, the direct quote from Brad Garlinghouse yesterday was, quote, resolution coming soon. We're right there. The light is at the end of the tunnel. Stu, I see you, Stu. Yeah, I don't pay attention. I don't pay attention to the silly guys. I don't pay attention to these silly little guys. These silly little guys make a living by fudding XRP, don't they? Imagine wrapping and attaching your whole ego about spreading XRP FUD. There's a few guys out there like that. There's a few cats out there like that, isn't there? What digital currency will BRICS use? Well, that's the thing is they can't really they haven't been able to come to an agreement so far. The best solution for me and for many of you guys, it's so obvious, right, is a neutral bridge currency. It's back your stablecoin, back your CBDC, back your national currency by the commodities that you produce in your country, and issue your stablecoin, issue your CBDC that's backed by that. But then we need a neutral bridge currency to get in the middle because none of us trust each other, right? And we want instant settlement, and we want to be able to interact with each other without trust. That's the beauty of these systems. It's trustless. XRP making it rain tonight, my man. God bless you, brother. Beliefs bequeathed from visions past, printed up and made to last, sent out by men in lethal trance for all of those who know the dance. XRP. Peaky. I always have a tough time reading you because you're always hitting me with the puns. You're always hitting me with something. Man, you're so amazing. You're so amazing. These people are sick, aren't they, Stu? Aren't they? These people are sick. Man, you're so amazing. Christy, I see you too. Love you too. Love you too. I'm going to be coming back down to Arizona to see you again here soon, Christy. I like Arizona in the wintertime when it's dark and gloomy up here in the Pacific Northwest. My goal has always been to become a snowbird before retirement. I'm not going to wait till I'm 60-something years old in retirement to become a snowbird. I'm trying to become a snowbird right now. And we spent 3 weeks. We spent 3 weeks in Scottsdale. That's where I actually did the interview for the XRP Unleashed documentary, was while I was down there. Because they were like, hey, we want you to come down to California. And I was like, yeah, got a little baby. I'm sorry, my travels are limited these days, but I am taking the family down to Scottsdale. So huge shout out to Chris and Maya. They were so gracious. They brought their whole crew out, and they got to interview Coach JV. And then they stopped on by and interviewed me as well. And absolute honor to be included in the documentary. We'll see if I make the final cut or not. I'm hoping I get a little bit of airtime. That'll be cool. But more importantly, I wouldn't care if I wasn't included in the documentary at all, because I'm just concerned about us getting our message out. I mean, and golly, give us something good to watch on Netflix. Every single night, I'm scrolling Netflix and Amazon trying to find something decent to watch. We need an XRP documentary. That'd be some good primetime television. My libertarian presidential vote 44 years ago counted to abolish the SEC. Leroy, that's the thing. For me, I identify as a libertarian conservative, right? Go do your deal. Go. I don't care what you're doing. I support what you're doing. There's some stuff that I'm like, I don't know if I can support or endorse it, but you have your right. You have your right. You believe in that God. You love that. You identify as a dog. Good luck. God bless. And as I've always said, if you guys want to have a real conversation after I've had a couple of adult beverages, sometimes the truth comes out. As I've always said, this is our freaking competition. During the greatest transfer of wealth in world history, folks are more concerned with being a cat. What do you think happens when we sit across the business table from these folks? No chance. Trump should talk with Zach Rector. Man. I'm very interested to see where this life takes myself, my family, and everything that we're doing. I'm very interested to see. I'm very interested. I don't know where we're going, but it's going to be exciting. It's going to be very exciting. I like being on the outside as far as would I ever run in politics? Would I ever become a politician? I like being on the outside. I like not having to worry about what I say. I like being able to make people upset if they need to be held accountable. I like being able to do so. And I like being outside the system. And before I concern myself with politics, mostly I'm concerned right now about building my business, building up for my family. Once I take care of that, I think that we'll be ready to look at what we're going to do. But right now, see, here's the thing. If John Dean was on the West Coast, I would 100% be volunteering my time for John Dean. I'd be, sign me up, John. Tell me what to do. You got me, right? Unfortunately, Dean's on the East Coast. Excuse me, great state of Massachusetts, fighting against Elizabeth Warren. So I'm doing what I can over here on this side, right? I'm beating the drum. I'm humbly standing behind these guys on the battlefield, sharing what I can. I put the link for John Dean in the description of every single one of my videos. I'm doing what I can, right? But I do plan on getting more involved down the road. You can have more of an effect in politics with money, right? It's pretty dang obvious, right? Almost to a negative, right? With the amount of politicians getting bought out, right? But to that point, my mentor, Dan Pena says, go make $1 billion and then save the world, right? And he talks about how all these guys cut and slash their way to the top, and then they worry about covering up their reputation. And then they worry about getting their name on the university, getting the statue built, saving the world, saving the climate, saving this, right? After after Jeff Bezos cashed out $10 billion worth of Amazon stock, now he's concerned about saving the world. Funny how that works. I'm in the fight to save it. I'm in the fight right here while I got nothing to my name because I know what I can do. I got my platform and I'm going to use the tools. I'm going to use the resources. I'm going to use this platform to spread the good word, to fight the good fight. But, a long way of saying I'm focused on stacking it up, and then we'll make some real waves, make some real ripples in the political sphere. And I like, I used to think about this with my small business back in the day. Man, I'm worried if one of my clients finds out what I think, they might fire me. Well, I'm way past that point. Way past that point. And it takes a lot of work, and it took me a while to get to that point where I don't have to worry. If I lose somebody because they're offended by what I say, we got plenty more. We got plenty more where that comes from. And that's a position that I like to be in, right? Once again, you guys know my deal. I don't have any sponsors. The only way I can do this, the only way that I continue to bring it every single day is through your guys' support. Whether you're going to my website, supporting me, whether you guys sending me some super chats, or whether you're just doing it for free, smashing the thumbs up. It all supports the cause, and I couldn't do it without you guys and all of your support that's driven me through times when it wasn't as popular to make content about XRP, through the bear market when it wasn't even cool to talk about crypto, period. I was still here. Well, a lot of these guys, a lot of these cats, they faded off. Now they're coming back, right? And we never left. And we're just going to continue to build. And for me, what you guys have done as far as the community effort, what I have now built is a community of like-minded individuals in my Discord group where, of course, I go to X for my news now too, right? And I go to see what's happening there. But then I also, if I want to save time, I can go to my Discord group and I can scroll through all of the news, all of the articles, all of the comments that my community's making on the news that took place that day, on researching other topics, on other folks that bring other experiences and other wisdom to the table. That's what's so valuable. And I'm going to plug this real quick before I wrap up this session, guys. This Saturday, just like every Saturday, I have my Discord weekly call. This Saturday is going to be special because I'm having another prepping call, which is going to be very, very important and timely. A very timely prepping call where we're going to be having a refresher kind of on the basics, why we do it, what we can be doing at this time of year towards the end of summer. What should we be harvesting? What should we be canning? It's going to be coming at a timely moment when, if you can't tell, we are at war. And as I've been saying, between now and this election, they're going to do everything they can. Sending that shot was just one of many potential black swans that are looming. And as I've always said, even if, the storm doesn't come through town, the cyber attack doesn't occur, the end of the world doesn't occur. This is not about being the crazy guy with the bunker. This is about what happens when you lose your job. I don't want to speak that into existence, but let's face the reality. We've had 600,000 job layoffs this year. Do you think that those 600,000 people would have appreciated having a little extra supply to help them as a cushion? Right? Bad crap happens to good people every single day. And I want our people to be taken care of and have a plan for no matter what they send our way. As I always say, it doesn't matter what the Black Swan event is. We prepare the same way and we prepare ourselves accordingly no matter what it's going to be. Cyber attack. The bomb goes off. The deal. I don't want to speak it into existence. I pray for peace every single day. But these people are sick. Our enemy wants to take this opportunity from us. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness goes against everything that they want. Everything that they're fighting to take from us. And this is why I show up here every single day, and this doesn't feel like work. This doesn't feel like work for 1 second. Because our purpose, our alignment, it's more clear than ever before. And for those of you that are here with me, I want to say thank you. Let's keep up the fight. Let's keep up the energy. And let's keep bringing back the vibes. Not just to America, for our international audience as well. Let's keep bringing the vibes back. And XRP getting ready to do something very interesting. You guys see, it already has everybody in panic mode. XRP bullish panic. We're just getting started. I appreciate every single one of you guys here tonight, all of your support. If you guys are new here, please make sure you guys subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can find all of our community resources available at ZachRector.com. If you're looking to get tapped in with our Discord, like I said, we got the prepping call coming up this Saturday. You go to my website, you sign up through Patreon, you get access to Discord, you get access to me, but even better than that, you get access to other like-minded individuals who bring even more to the table. This is a community effort. We are in this fight together. We will not relent. We will not stop. and we will achieve victory, which is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness on a level playing field for every single man, woman, and child on this planet. God bless all of you guys. I'm going to see you in the next one. Goodbye.